Hi, I'm Leanne Trotter from NBC5 Chicago, Channel 5. You know, being behind bars, even for a short period of time, can be really difficult. And if you have kids, you're probably wondering what's happening to them, if they're eating right, if they're doing their homework, if they're behaving. You know, it can be hard to find someone to fill in for you because you probably don't know how long you're going to be here. Well, I'm here today to give you some very important information about how you can help your children stay in school while you're in jail. Most kids will complain about going to school until they're told they can't go. If your kids were sent to live with family or friends and things fall apart, your child may end up moving around a lot, perhaps not even really knowing where he or she will stay each night. That situation may be defined as homeless. If this is the case, the law gives your children some important rights about school. The most important point is that homeless children, preschool through high school, can either stay in their old school or immediately get into the school near where they're staying. This won't solve all your problems, but it could make life a little easier for your kids. Staying in the same school can make a big difference in their daily lives. Research shows the more a child changes schools, the more difficulty that child is likely to have in school. Keeping in contact with their friends and seeing the same teachers can mean so much to them. Quickly getting into a new school or staying in their old school, whatever's best for your child, is important so your child can form a routine with their teachers and friends.
You're new there and brand new, and then you're scared and afraid to be new, and then you don't know no teachers' names, and then it wasn't last year, nobody's gonna know you yet. When it was your old school, everybody knows you, and then you're gonna miss your friends back and wanna go to that school, but you can't go to that school because you already have a new school. When it was your new school, you're gonna be really scared and shy if a teacher asks you something and
School is important for kids, and just having 5 or 6 hours in familiar surroundings while they learn math, reading, and writing and other subjects can really help them get through these hard times. This film will help you help your kids stay in school now while you're behind bars. But first, a little story. Back in 1993, an Illinois mom and her 3 children had just become homeless. The mom was told her kids didn't have the right to stay in the same school they had been going to before becoming homeless. The family had to move to the nearby town to stay at the homeless shelter in a different school district. The mom pleaded the case, but legally, because of a weak federal law, the family lost. The bill, called the Illinois Education for Homeless Children Act, became known as Charlie's Bill, after the homeless boy Charlie, who became the poster child for this bill. Charlie's Bill passed in 1994 and proved that homeless children and their parents valued education. The bill became a model for national legislation, and now homeless children have strong rights to get an education, thanks to the courage of the mother and her children who fought the school district. And it's because of their efforts that you and your kids have these rights. Let's go over the law so you understand it if your kids are in a homeless situation and having trouble getting into their school. The good news is the law is so simple you don't even need a lawyer to explain it. First, what does it mean to be homeless in order for this law to take effect? Homelessness is not just something that happens to people living on the streets. It happens to families who lose their home and have to move in with other people because they don't have money to get their own place, or they have problems and no one will rent to them. It happens to parents who leave an abusive partner and can't get a place to live. Sure, families staying in shelters are homeless, but families staying in cheap motels because they can't afford their own place are also homeless. And so are people who sleep in abandoned buildings, cars, vans, campers, or tents. And often they end up sleeping on friends' couches or bouncing from motel to friends to shelters, streets, motels, and around again. It can happen to children who have to go stay with relatives or friends when their parent goes to jail.
We weren't exactly poor, we just didn't have a home to live in. It was like every week we wash our clothes, we buy food. We was never hungry because we always ate.
You can help your child get into school even from your jail cell. This is what you need to know. Homeless students have the right to get into school immediately. Your children can stay in their old school if that's best for them, either the school they were last in or the school they attended when they last had a permanent place to live. Or they can go to the school nearest where they are now staying, one that kids in the same neighborhood attend. If your child needs transportation to stay in the old school, the school must provide it. The school cannot kick your children out because they've lost their place to live or they're staying temporarily with other people while you're in jail.
I don't know, I just thought if they find out, I'd probably have to go to a school in this town where I live now. I wouldn't be able to talk to my friends as much or see them anymore, really. I'd be sad and scared, and it'd be harder to make new friends.
Schools cannot force homeless families or guardians to get all the paperwork needed to prove residency or homelessness before enrolling the children. Schools cannot turn away a homeless student because he or she is not a resident of the district where the child is temporarily staying. And the person your children are staying with does not need to be their legal guardian. It helps if they have something in writing from you saying that you've asked them to step in, but it's not required. Each state handles this differently, but legal guardianship is not required to get your child into school. Of course, trying to send your children to a school claiming they're homeless when they're not is wrong and can cause problems for the family. And some reasonable limits may apply that need more explanation than we have time for in this video. Sometimes legal help is needed to solve disputes. Schools must waive fees, and your child is qualified for free lunch. Schools must help the family if they need to get paperwork from the old school. They also must work to get the children into the right kind of classes, including special education. These are just the main parts of the law. Decisions on whether a child meets the legal definition of homeless are made on a case-by-case basis. It's important for someone at the school to know what your children are going through and to respect your privacy. Losing a parent and a home could cause a child to act out or struggle with schoolwork.
School is everything to me because I understand in this day and age education it helps you excel in life, because I see a lot of people, and I know a couple of people who didn't finish high school and they have day-in jobs like McDonald's and Burger King and stuff like that. And not saying those jobs are bad or anything, but in the long run, when you start forming a family and stuff like that, it's going to affect you. So school to me is important, so I'm just trying to move on and just get a degree of somehow have some kind of security.
If the school knows, they can help. The person caring for your children should ask to see the homeless education liaison so they can find out what help your children can get. That person should help get the children into school, get them signed up for free lunch, help get uniforms, school supplies, or tutoring, connect them with doctors to get physicals, and do whatever can be done to make sure the children have an opportunity to succeed in school. It is a federal law. While the law gives homeless children important rights, you or your child's caregiver might need to advocate for your child. Not all school staff is familiar with this law. Sometimes schools disagree with parents or guardians about whether a child is homeless or other things. When that happens, there's a quick legal way to solve that dispute. They need to give you or your caregiver information about this process, including ways to get free or low-cost legal help. You may have been given a flyer called REACH that explains your children's educational rights. If you can't find it, ask the staff for one. Look it over. It has a tear-off, stamped postcard that can start things rolling. It also lists a phone number and website for more information. You can either mail the postcard to ask for help to get your children into the proper school, or your caregiver can call this toll-free number, 1-800-308-2145. Someone will quickly help. If you're in Illinois, you can call 800-940-1119 for assistance. Helping your children get an education is one of the most important things you can do for them. Think of the homeless mother who got all this started. Instead of being powerless, her courage gave birth to this important law which helps children get the best education possible despite their living situation. Kids like Charlie and your kids deserve an education. You can make that happen. Thank you for letting me share this good news with you. I hope it helps. And all the best to you as you move from this to better opportunities in life.